When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to love. Nowadays, I feel as if it's the hardest time on the planet to be grateful, for a number of reasons. Maybe the boomers were right when they say that our generation is very ungrateful. But chances are, if you're watching this video, you aren't typically worrying about survival on a day-to-day basis. You're not worried about where you'll put your head at night. Further, and maybe more importantly, we now live in a society where excess is seen as normality. I mean, the gap between third world and first world countries is astronomical nowadays, in standard of living terms. I mean, after all, we're at a point where people can now rank chicken tenders based off preference and, minuscule details, versus someone that's never even heard of a chicken tender or can conceptualize it.
I can tell you, I like chicken tenders.
What's more though is that we constantly see each other's belongings, each other's recent vacations, all through a filtered lens of course, and that just allows for desire to occur on a whole new level. I know it's gotten me. We see what the upper crust of society has, and it can make our lives feel less special, like there's less going on, because we're not on a material plane of existence as a Kylie Jenner, for example. In this way, we forget ourselves, abandoning authenticity, making it all the harder to return to a grateful state of mind. That's why I'd like to invite you to this proverbial Thanksgiving dinner table. I hope it helps you just as much as it's gonna help me. I'm definitely not preaching from the mountaintop, but ultimately you'll see the point that I'm trying to make. See how long you can last watching this video without Subway Surfers gameplay below me. I know how those attention spans can be. I'm reeling from that, but let me start off with a little bit of a slam dunk, a gimme. And that is that I'm grateful for the people that are in my life. I'm extremely, very supercalifragilistic, expialidociously grateful for the people in my life. Without them, I'd be nowhere in life, and they've helped me overcome various things and shape me into who I am today. The old saying, something along the lines of, you often hurt the people you're closest to, and in this way, it's the same thing. We often take for granted the people that we're closest to in our lives, and it clearly shouldn't be that way. What's more is that the people in our lives are with us wherever, whenever. No matter if they've passed on, we can still easily access memories attached to that person. Everyone is always with you, and to me that just reveals how we shouldn't take the people close to us for granted. Everyone is always with you in one way or another, and that's honestly all the more reason to be nice to other people too. Anyways, y'all know who you are, so like and comment for a to be honest and a rate to find out if you're a real one for real. This one here is another easy one and a bit of a gimme too, but again, I think we often take it for granted, and that is, I'm grateful to live in the year 2023. As touched on earlier in the video, life is so easy nowadays, and I do like a good challenge, but I'm also glad at the same time that I don't have to go out and build a shelter and find my food unless I choose to do so. And that's really the key. What makes 2023 so great is the multiplicity of choices that we do possess. Not only this, but the access to medicines, extending my life. 2023 is no doubt the best year for a human to live. And here I should also mention the fact that I'm glad to live in America. I realize much of Western civilization has its flaws. It's been built off the back of largely exploitation, but nonetheless, I'm not living in Somalia. I hope you understand what I'm trying to go for here. It's really the simplicity of the easygoing lifestyle that I'm afforded. Don't get me wrong, there's many flaws and I think there's a lot to fix, but I'm still grateful to live here. I'm grateful for music. I think oftentimes we just slap on music, and while we might be actively enjoying it, I still think that we do take it for granted. I mean, after all, think of the countless hours your favorite artist spent making your favorite song. And this here can sort of funnel into a broader point. I mean, think about the person or people that made your car, your clothes, who wrote your favorite book, and so on. Maybe you see where I'm ultimately going with this. And not only this or that, I'm not sure on the proper grammar, but music's feeling that it gives you is pretty much unrhymed. And I'd be lying if I didn't say that this video was at least semi-George Harrison inspired. But getting out of his lyricism, even going down to the fact that it's just simply his music that can turn my bad day into a good one. That's the power of music right there. What I really am trying to get at here is that music, and really any form, is a great spiritual tool, if that makes sense. And I really can't believe that I did used to take it for granted when I was discontented with my life. Talking about negative emotions, I'm grateful for my capacity to feel them, experience them, and of course the positive ones too. Whenever we get tossed into a phase of negativity, it becomes an exercise of haste to try and get out of it, which I totally understand. I'm not trying to come at positivity seekers. I know there's people out there that every day are trying to be positive and put negativity behind them. So, I'm not coming after that, and I respect it. But what I am trying to say is that the full range of human emotion is what makes this experience intensely unique. If you have any knowledge about the college basketball world, you'll know about the legendary Jimmy V. When Jimmy V was diagnosed tragically with terminal cancer, he chose not to sulk about it, but said in a legendary speech,
3 things we all should do every day. If we do this every day of our life, you're going to have, what a wonderful, number 1 is laugh. You should laugh every day. Number 2 is think. You should spend some time in thought. And number 3 is you should have your emotions moved to tears. Could be happiness or joy. But think about it. If you laugh, you think, and you cry, that's a full day. That's a heck of a day.
I think Jimmy hit the nail right on the head, or hit the head on the nail, or whatever I'm trying to say. But the point is to get the most out of this puzzling experience, it's to acknowledge and accept the wide emotional scale that you will experience. Accept all the possibilities. You never know what a day will bring, and emotions encompass that. Man, I cannot talk. To turn a blind eye, away from negative emotions, to neglect crying even, might be doing yourself an injustice. If you haven't cried in a while, I highly recommend it. Which I should say, I'm grateful to cry, laugh, and so on in the first place at all. In other words, I'm grateful to be alive at all. Sort of in conjunction with me saying that I'm grateful to be alive in 2023, but this time more fundamentally. I think all of us, even you, are lucky to be alive in the first place, to enjoy, experience this whole life thing. I feel as if you don't even really need to believe in an inherent meaning to this whole life thing to enjoy it. I mean, talking from experience here, life is meaningless, and I like life. What I mean is that it's really easy to conceptualize this. For example, I can't believe I'm 21 years old. It's extremely difficult for me to think about 21 years as a whole. It seems far too long for me to really grasp it. And what's more is, and I hope this doesn't creep you out, but it's absolutely fascinating to me that my body is still functioning after all this time. Like, how is my heart still beating right now? And I've had to charge my phone, dozens of times this week alone. It's thoughts like these that reveal something profound about my existence, my life, and just how simple it truly is. Stripped of anything that I've ever said or did, or will do or say, my life is simple, regardless of anything else that happens. But it's also profound. So with these notions alone, I say life is beautiful. I think perhaps my main message here can be summed up by this clip.
If this book has a lesson, it is that we are awfully lucky to be here, and by we, I mean every living thing. To attain any kind of life in this universe of ours appears to be quite an achievement. As humans, we're doubly lucky, of course. We enjoy not only the privilege of existence, but also the singular ability to appreciate it, and even in a multitude of ways to make it better.
They say, and they being mathematicians, that we had a 1 in 400 trillion chance of being born at all, which is miraculous no matter what you believe. I could go on and on about specific aspects of my life with detailed descriptions of why I'm grateful for them, like my favorite pair of shoes, the shoes that I wear to the gym, specific substances that I enjoy, really anything. I could give a brief description about each individual pet that I've ever known, but I don't think that it really needs to be done. It's more fundamental, more meta, if you will. Gratitude can be so simple, as shown by things discussed here. It's from this perspective that I think we can make substantial progress, considering how divided we are today. You know, to invoke another Beatle, just imagine if we used this sort of understanding in our discourse, how this basic human ideal about existence being so simple, yet being so profound, how it would just make love flourish. Further, in a more internal way, focusing on this simple gratitude has made me definitely a more contented person, if not happier. You know, there's times where I'm just sitting in a park and I'm at such peace that I can't even explain it. And it's beautiful, I can't lie. So I hope this video can do the same for you. Peace and love, wonderful.